Hello, and welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Whether you're going for that next promotion, looking for a job, or making a career pivot, I'll teach you how to navigate it all so you can have the career you want.
Welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast, episode 35.
Today I'm going to talk about qualifications, and this is going to be a two-parter because we have everything when it comes to qualifications, from feeling overqualified or being perceived as overqualified to feeling or being perceived as underqualified for a role. And of course, this is normal to feel this way during a job search. But the key is understanding what's real and what is just your brain telling you that you're over or underqualified and how to handle it. So part one, I'm going to talk about what happens when you feel overqualified, when you literally are overqualified, and how to handle it because you don't want to be perceived as overqualified. It's so interesting, the number of people who come to me and say, hey, they said I was overqualified for the job, or hey, I could do this job in my sleep, but I'm not getting hired. Even though it's a job you want and you don't care if you're overqualified for it. There's a technique that I want to teach you to help you overcome this obstacle and know how to respond in all of those interview conversations so that in the end, you get what you want. All right? Let's talk about overqualified. There's any number of reasons why you may feel overqualified or be perceived as overqualified. And that could be age. Now, I know ageism is a thing. I get it. I'm not saying it's not real. I believe that that is something that many people encounter on both ends of the spectrum. Sometimes it can be because you are more advanced in your career, and sometimes it could be that you're early in your career and you may be getting dismissed because you don't have the years of experience. So we'll talk about that in the underqualified. But let's say age is a thing and you're in your 40s or 50s and you're interviewing with someone in their 30s. I get it. And let me tell you something. Let me let you in a little secret. If you think about it, you already know. The person in their 30s who's interviewing someone in their 40s or 50s, they feel uncomfortable too. Trust me, I remember when I was a 30-something and I was in leadership and running a large organization, it is easy for that person to feel intimidated. So keep that in mind when you go in, that there's two mindsets at play here. Another reason that you might feel overqualified or be perceived as overqualified is simply your career history, your experience, your expertise. You just have more years in, or you have multiple degrees, and these are things that can be a distraction in terms of your qualifications. Another reason that you may be encountering this concept of being overqualified is if you've decided that you are going to move from leadership to individual contributor. Maybe you've just decided that you don't want to do job performance reviews anymore. You don't want to be responsible for other people's performance. No problem. There's all kinds of stages and seasons in our careers. And if you're at that place where you just want to step back and you're thinking about another time in your career that was so amazing and fulfilling and stress-free, and you want that again, you should be able to have it and not feel guilty or bad or have to deal with being perceived as overqualified because of that. Another reason that you might encounter this idea of being overqualified is you're making a change because of your personal values. You're making a change because of the stage that you are in your career, that you don't want a regular full-time role. You'd rather do a contract role, or you'd rather look at something that's more on a part-time basis. But you have this concern that doing that is going to be difficult because the other person's going to perceive you as being overqualified. Listen, there's all kinds of reasons you want to do that. Lifestyle, stress, work-life, as I call it, work-life integration, also known as, for some, as work-life balance. Any number of reasons can have you encountering this idea that I'm overqualified and no one's ever going to hire me because I don't want to dumb myself down. And listen, I'm not suggesting that you dumb down your skills, accomplishments, or anything else. What I am suggesting is that in an interview, in these conversations that you're having, that you realize and you apply the concept that it isn't all about you. It's what do you need to say so that the other person sees you as a great candidate, someone who's highly relevant, who's perfect, who is the one that they are looking for. Now, this is an interesting concept because we get into interviews and we think that we need to tell them everything you've done, especially when you're highly qualified to overqualified. What's happening is when you get into these interview conversations and you're making it all about you, you will slip into convincing energy. You may even, as one of my clients mentioned one time, steamroll over the hiring manager and eliminate yourself from consideration. I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is consider that these conversations are about what does this other person need to know about you to see you as a viable candidate. Only what they need to know, not what you want to say. And this comes down to editing. This comes down to strategy. This is about being super intentional about what you say so that the other person doesn't feel intimidated. They need to know what they need to know. That is all. This is a marketing campaign, and you hear me say it all the time, because if you are over marketing, if you're giving someone information that they don't need to know, they feel overwhelmed. It almost becomes like choice overload, and you start to lose your credibility. They start becoming confused. And as one marketing guy I love to listen to says, if you confuse, you lose. And sometimes all of that career history, all of that great value can be confusing to the person on the other side. So edit, constrain, be super strategic about what you share about yourself. Here's a technique for doing that. Look at the job description and think of each one of those items as a pain point to be solved or an aspiration to be achieved, a goal that they have in mind for the team, the group, the company, the role. When you look at it like that and you think of your specific qualifications, your specific experiences and accomplishments that align just to those bullet points, stick to the script. Don't feel obligated to go beyond that. And when you go into an interview feeling a sense of ease and certainty, instead of feeling like you need to convince someone that this role is okay for you, that you don't need something higher, it's going to change everything about how that conversation goes. So it's not about dumbing yourself down. It's about being relevant. It's about understanding your audience. It's about understanding that they only need to hear what they need to hear. And man, once you get into that role and you've got other qualifications and other tricks up your sleeve, and you have an opportunity to come alongside that person with some of your additional experience, how solid, how awesome is that going to be? So hold back a little bit. Don't be afraid to just only state what's absolutely necessary. And instead of convincing someone that you're perfect for the job, give them only what they need to know so that they can figure that out on their own. And you can give that hiring manager the thing they are looking for, which is, oh my gosh, this person is the one. Have those experiences. Don't feel overqualified. Don't act overqualified. Be exactly what that hiring manager needs and nothing more. And those interviews will go, oh, so much better. All right, talk to you next time.
Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out my Love Your Work Life programs on Teachable. You can choose from on-demand courses or personalized one-on-one coaching with me. We take all of this material and apply it so that you can live it and create the career you want. Because when you love your work life, all the other parts of life get better too. So go to Love Your Work Life Teachable as search terms, or love-your-work-life.teachable.com. I will see you there.